Short for fanatic is the one who's screaming their lungs out in sub-0 degree temperatures, still believing when the chips are down, and never, ever giving up on their teams or their players. From the closest seat to the worst one, we want to meet you all. This is the American Fan.
What's going on, sports fans? It's Josh Williams back again with another episode of the American Fan 365 podcast. George.
Yes.
I don't think I've really ever said anything about this on air, but for those of you out there that think that I have a lazy eye, like I got a Forrest Whitaker thing going on. I've had what I thought was a sty, and then, you know, when I finally went and got some professional assistance, it was called a chalazion or whatever it's called, or however you pronounce that.
That sounds scary.
And so today I'd had some drops. You were asking about it earlier, George.
Yes.
I'd had some drops and some ointment. So I think maybe one time I came in here and it looked like my eyeball was drooling like I was in Goonies or something. So none of that has worked. Like this thing has just continued to live a life. So today when I went for my update, she injected some stuff directly into it. Which
sounds, ladies and gentlemen, tell me that doesn't sound like it's a Saw movie in the making, like a huge needle just going into your eye.
As I told you before, it's been 6 months, and this is the moneymaker, baby. Trust me, I've had a whole thing for the past 7-8 months that I've had it. So it was time. Whatever you have to do, if you gotta shoot me dead in the face, but you're gonna survive. I'm like, okay, that's fine. My vanity is saved. Is getting to me at this point. How are you, George? How was your weekend, man?
I'm doing amazing. Little bro committed on Friday, so it's kind of been a wild weekend for the Carmona family. So shout out to Junior. He was on this show. He committed to the University of Arkansas. So SEC football, here we come. They won the recruiting trip. I mean, he got everything thrown at him. I didn't necessarily know this, and maybe you'd know. Arkansas is the school where Jerry Jones graduated from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Jerry Jones. That was where him and Jimmy Johnson went.
Yep.
Yeah.
So this was all new to me, and so now I'm like, every facility for athletics is like the Jones complex of this, the Jones complex of that.
I didn't think of that part.
Yes. So talk about top-notch facilities across the board for all athletics.
Sure.
And you know, it's amazing to me to see the evolution of like college football and like what the different conferences necessarily bring.
Yeah.
How is the Mountain West? Like, how do some of these smaller conferences stay alive and consider themselves D1 schools?
Easy, George, because, you know, San Jose State got paid millions of dollars to go play USC, the game that we went to.
Yep. But that's,
you know what I'm saying?
That's the thing where I'm like, if you're getting paid to go play and lose to these big time schools, to me, maybe we should not consider that Division I. Like, and I know I'm being tough, but it's like there is no comparison.
Yeah.
Mountain West cannot compete with SEC.
We are not fighting the same fight.
Oh, no, not even remotely. So it's been fun. It's been a really like eye-opening weekend for me, and we're all soaking it in, and hopefully by the end of spring ball we can, you know, find out whether or not he's going to like get a starting spot. Things are he's got Bobby Petrino as his offensive coordinator.
Oh, okay, that's right. Bobby came back, but he's the OC. He's not the head coach. He was the head coach there.
Correct.
Before, I can't remember if that was before he coached the Falcons or after. I get hazy. Because he kind of was back and forth between NFL and college.
Correct. So he's got a new O-line coach. It's kind of like a fresh new system.
Okay.
But they pretty much what my parents said is like there was other recruits on the visit that he went on, but like Sam Pittman, the head coach, like pretty much spent 90% of the time with Junior. So he was like, I guess I do mean that much, you know?
Sure.
So that made him feel good and comfortable. We'll have him on soon.
Yeah.
One of the reporters, after I posted an Instagram picture saying he committed, shared your podcast on Twitter. It's got like 25,000 plays. The
Where?
clip.
Wait, whoa.
I'll find it.
Where am I at? Where am I at on those spins?
I definitely.
I need those spins.
I definitely sent it to you.
You did not. But
I'll figure it out.
But I will. I just want to say, again, congratulations to you and to your family. To Junior, obviously, you know what I'm saying? It's a
17,000.
Shoot, still, that's dope. Oh, okay, and that's us talking to him. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Lots of engagement with it.
Man, it would have been nice if a brother could have tagged me, but all right, it is what it is. Just keep putting it in the universe, baby. One of these things is gonna crack. That's all right.
Screenshotted a YouTube short here. Whatever though. All right.
Man, hey, listen. I will say this though. Man, I have some of these interviews that are coming up, George. It's like, you can't take that away. I know that you guys can't see it on the screen. George isn't putting it on the screen. That's okay. But the logo centered in the screen, you can't take it away, baby. Like, there's nowhere you like. That's why when you're like, why you make the logo so big? It's like, because I know what I do. I steal, and so if I can crop you out, I'm gonna crop you out. So if you're gonna try to crop me out, you got to destroy the footage. Like, the people's faces gonna be all stretched out. Like, oh yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. So, but and so outside of Arkansas, just before we move on from that, outside of Arkansas, he was talking to Chip Kelly at UCLA.
Correct.
And then what are some other schools?
It was coming down to Arkansas, BYU, UCLA, and Auburn, and he elected to not go on the Auburn visit after the 2 days in Arkansas. And I definitely, trust me, Josh, that same like.
Well, remember, Auburn was the leader in the barn for me.
Yep.
Because in like your mom was saying, what you said about your mom was that she was asking Chip Kelly, like, hey, are you going to get fired? Like,
yeah, literally.
Like, legitimate question. So, like, some of those types of things, I understand why you wouldn't go there, even though UCLA obviously would have been closer to the comforts of home. But now no Pac-12, we don't know what they're going to be doing. All that kind of stuff, it does cloud what it could look like you going there.
Correct.
But yeah, no, I wanted Auburn, but still in the SEC, still playing against, the best. You know what I mean? Especially linemen, like O-linemen, linebackers. You're dealing with those big boys. So if he puts some good tape out there, it's putting him in position for success. How many years does he have of eligibility?
He's got two. He's got two left. But his mind is pretty much like, I'm going to go in here. I'm going to make this like the 1 year I push myself harder than I've ever pushed before. Not only like football wise, but like academically. There's a lot of like things that schools that aren't necessarily academically centered shy away from.
Sure.
The easy degrees, the grass watching 101 that they put these kids through. They get a degree or whatever afterwards, but Arkansas is not like that. So that's going to be an
adjustment.
He's got full-time job, but hey, he's getting financially rewarded for what you should do as a full-time job. So
good.
Yes.
Well, that's great. That's great, man. I'm really happy for you and your family on that.
Thank you.
Let's go around the world in sports. UFC 296 was this past weekend, the main event. I don't know if it lived up to the hype and the expectation, but it did at least end the way I wished for it to. Leon Edwards takes down Colby Covington 49-46 on all judges' scorecards, unanimous decision. And man, George, how much of the fight did you catch?
The Covington one?
Yeah.
I loved it. I watched the first 4 rounds. The 5th round, I was pretty sure, because I'd put the fight to go the distance. I put a bet in.
Oh, nice.
For both of the co-main and the main.
Okay.
So I made out pretty nice on that. Boring as fuck. Colby Covington, you can't run your mouth like that and then go out there and then, like, not throw punches.
Yeah.
And it was just, I've never seen a fighter so scared.
Yeah.
Did you feel the same way?
Well, look, some reports came out shortly after that the situation with Masvidal in Florida, where Masvidal ran up on him. Apparently, there might have been some brain injury issues in that as well. And so that was one of the reasons why he took such a long layoff, because we know he was injured, but there could have also been some like brain injuries that no one really wants to talk about.
True.
And so, I mean, yeah, he talked about ring rust, you know what I'm saying? But my biggest thing is the delusion. And George has the clip. I'll let the clip run, but yeah, a little bit delusional.
Colby, what happens for you now? This was your third shot at the title. How are you feeling right now?
Oh, I feel great. I didn't feel like I got touched. It was an easy fight. I don't have a scratch on me, so,
Yeah, so as we can see right here. Oh no, I got you, George. Colby, as we can see right here.
What happens for you now?
He had quite a few scratches on him. Leon Edwards, he did what Leon Edwards does. He chops your leg. He chops your leg to oblivion. He hasn't, I think like out of the last 13 fights on this win streak that he's on, I think his last 8 have all gone to, outside of the Usman finish where he got the belt, like 8 of his last 9 have gone to a decision.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, this was par for the course. So that was a good bet. Good on you to expect that to go the distance.
The tougher of the two was Royval and Pantoja. But for me, with the odds, for everyone wondering, it was 350 plus 350. So 3-1 for Royval and Pantoja to go to the distance, which shocks me for guys that are that small. Because usually you only see plus 350 fight won't go the distance in like heavyweight fights, where it's like, they're going to get knocked out at some point in time, or they're just going to get so tired that the ground and pound. But with these two small guys, I was like, damn, these are amazing odds. So I'm glad that you told me that. The numbers for that Covington-Edwards fight definitely said minus 170.
Yeah.
So it was like, you have to put a lot of money down to win some.
But you parlayed them?
Parlayed it, and
Nice.
call me Parlay G. Trademark.
We do have a friend called Parlay P, so I will refuse to say that out loud. You ain't gonna get me caught up, but yeah, I mean, just that level of delusion, I think we all wish to have in our life, to be like, oh yeah, nothing's wrong with my eye. Like,
Literally.
Like, yeah, bro, something's wrong with your eye.
I don't have a gap in my teeth. What? Like, huh?
Delusion. But it was a really good card. I mean, obviously we lost the Ian Gary fight. That would have, I think, really put this card to a whole nother point. That would have been an exciting fight as well. But the Pantoja fight that you're talking about, that one was exciting. I guess I was expecting more out of Royval. He's always been a slow starter. Like, he usually, really turns it on that second and third round. So I kind of was like, when the fight started, I was like, all right, well, this is kind of par for the course for him. He don't always look great in the beginning. And then he just never really looked great. He just kind of, it was like, wow, all right. So Brandon Moreno, I guess, again, maybe? I hope. Is Brandon staying in that division, right, George?
Brandon Moreno is definitely staying in that division. He was there. He was almost a part of that Sean Strickland, Dracus Duplessis brawl. He was literally sitting in that front row, and then when Sean Strickland came out, there's like a photo of like Brandon sitting there, like,
bro. Listen, Jamal and Monty, it happened right next to them.
Oh my God!
Like, if you can pull it up,
I will. I'll find
I've got it. I've got it on my story still. But yeah, that whole situation happened literally to the left of Jamal.
American Fan Story.
Yeah. It happened right to the left of Jamal. Jamal was literally right in it, and then Monty, our friend, he's in there videotaping. I'm like, Monty, act like you've been there before. Like, what are we doing right now? Like,
is it this one?
Yeah. That's it. That's it. It's gonna show it. Yeah. So first off, for Sean to ask, Gilbert Burns' children, his son right there. I've met his son. His son is really cute. To ask his son to move for him, and then jump on him like that was just, it was hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, this is here. I'll add a little.
Fires the gun. Duplessis dodges it.
So Duplessis keeps talking.
All right, so I'm being told that Strickland asks Gilbert Burns' son to move.
Excuse me. Oh, I see Brandon. I didn't see Brandon before.
Oh, and
Wow.
Go to work. See the hat? See Jamal's hat? That's Jamal right there.
Jamal was fired up.
That's Jamal right there. And then that's Monty right next to him. That's Monty right there.
Oh, my God.
Like, so look, right here, Monty's getting his phone out. And so then Monty, like the next frame, you see Monty like,
That's kind of crazy.
trying to be TMZ. Here it is. Look, see? Told you.
8-team maximize the opportunity. Stand on that chair, Monty. Stand on that chair. Monty, we need the upward fucking angle.
Monty, you've got TMZ views right now. But yeah.
Come on, bro.
Yep. And so if I would have been
Get on
there,
him, though.
I would have been like dodging some significant blows. But unfortunately, I was at work.
Yeah.
Back to the card though. Patty Pimblett takes down Tony Ferguson, unanimous decision. It looked like he could have, in that I want to say it was the second round. He really could have finished it. It didn't happen. But Tony Ferguson needs to retire. I think this is like 7 straight losses.
You see this a lot in the UFC where they have the young up and coming stud take on a veteran and they build up the storyline like, the vet's got a chance. It's like never,
Not
ever
even remotely a chance.
And the odds were actually showing that like Ferguson had a chance. He was he was a 2-1 dog.
Okay.
In my opinion, I figured he'd probably be like, what is he coming off a 6-fight losing streak?
This is either 6 or this was either 7 or 8 straight fights of losing.
Yeah. How are you a 2-1 dog against UFC's next superstar? So you got really good money if you took Patty Pimblett because he will be a -500 probably if this ever occurs again with another vet. But the UFC consistently does this.
Yeah.
Where you just know what's coming.
The fight right before this is actually also in my story. The fight right before this, Josh Emmett with a just hellacious overhand. I think it was an overhand left. But knocks out Bryce Mitchell. Bryce Mitchell was having a little bit of a brain event. He was having seizures on the ground. I didn't like, that's also kind of one thing too. Like when we see those guys really get in distress and they start throwing up gang signs and different things when they're down there, at some point I do wish that it would be like football where you kind of avert the cameras. Like we don't need to necessarily see that.
Right.
Because they were like Joe Rogan and the guys were talking about, it was like, oh God, oh he's seizuring, oh God, but they were still doing the replay of it.
Right.
And it was like, bro, I don't need to know he's seizuring right now. That's too much information. I don't need to know. Let's just hope that he's okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's UFC though for you.
It's a blood sport, so I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, you gotta give the people what they want, but yeah, sometimes I wish it wasn't so bloodthirsty. That's
a very good point. What else are they gonna discuss though? Like, they're so close to the cage. How in football they're all the way, in
the box,
they're super far away, so they can quickly divert and they don't have to look.
Yeah,
but like Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier are staring right at them.
I have nothing else to look at. This is all I got. This is all I got to look at. And then finally from the card, Cody Garbrandt, huge knockout. I texted him right after this happened. Round 1, 3:42 into round 1. Listen, for a former champion to fall back onto the prelims and those kinds of things, we don't want to see it, but I do love to see Cody Garbrandt, still out there and still getting finishes. He looked good in this fight. Never at any point looked like he was in any kind of danger and controlled it. So that's our UFC minute. Switching gears over to the NBA, Draymond Green begins counseling and is expected to be out 3 weeks after his latest run-in, George, last weekend with Nurkic.
It was pretty bad.
And
it was pretty bad, ladies and gentlemen. Do you think he needs more than counseling? Is what I put in the title of the episode.
Does he need more than counseling? Listen, counseling helps a lot of people. I think it's just a decision. The thing is, and I can't remember if we've talked about it on our show, but for Draymond, the biggest thing, like he always had there was always other veterans in that room. Even though him, Steph, Clay were the three alpha dogs, there were other veterans that could still help bring him back, into the fold. You know what I'm saying? Like, because listen, he's had a history of this. He's the reason Kevin Durant isn't there anymore, or at least one of the reasons. I won't say the only reason, but he's at least a part of the reason why he's no longer there. Those types of things, it's a sad thing for sure. I mean, it's not, Oh yeah, and then this.
Well, yeah, this kind of encapsulates the craziness, ladies and gentlemen. Sit back and enjoy the craziest Draymond Green highlights. Give it to me.
Sacre bleu!
Right in the butt. This shit's reckless.
Yeah, that's quite the history.
I mean, Josh, do you think this is 100% attributed to all these old basketball players saying, "You guys couldn't play in our day. It's not tough." And you think Draymond Green takes it to heart?
I mean, look, listen, Draymond's his dirtiest plays are still, that was like a run of the mill Thursday in the 80s and 90s.
You could put all those clips right there in a 1980s basketball highlight package and it makes sense. But I'm just wondering, like, do you think that's like played a effect on the way that
he plays?
Because, bro, there's nobody else that's really playing like this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No. He's the only one. He's the last of his kind. I will say that. But remember too, the reason he got paid, at least especially in the beginning, was because of his defense. So he had to ride that edge of, being a little dirty, getting in your face. That was what got him on the floor. Once he got on the floor and they started giving him more, autonomy to run the offense and different things like that, that's what expanded his role. But that's what got him on the floor, was rebounding, playing defense, locking down your best player, like those things. So, I mean, I don't think it's him necessarily taking it to heart that this generation is soft. I think it's more or less this generation is soft and there's no one else like him. So he looks like, an anomaly completely. He doesn't look like he's from this planet.
Agreed.
But some of the stuff he does is definitely extra. Like
this last one was iconic, right?
The spinning. The spinning back fist, the spinning back fist. You can't. I can't defend in any way. You know what I mean? But like some of the other stuff is like it's not that bad. But that one, that's and then like when he was kicking people, all the stuff with the feet, that's nonsense. If it's like some of the hard fouls, when he takes LeBron out of the sky.
LeBron face was hilarious.
That was good. My dad, I grew up because like I said, I am a fouler, so I understand fouling. My dad used to call them a Johnny Williams foul, which means like I had to touch you up, like I had to give you a hard foul just to let you know I was here. Not trying to hurt you, you know what I mean, but gotta let you know I'm here.
There's 5 of them, you guys. You get 5,
and you get 6 in the NBA. So I'm gonna use all of them. I'm not leaving. I'm leaving here with something.
I mean, that's the main thing that you got to teach when you're like coaching defense early on. You got to just like, hey, if you foul every play, they can't call it every play. Like,
they're not going to call all of them.
No, that would be impossible. We'd be here all day. All right, these AAU games are 45 minutes long. All right, they're not going to call these fouls.
Some of these got to go. But switching gears over a little bit to the NFL, Puka Nucua is still a plus 2,500 George, for the Offensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year. And I had mentioned this on Nick Diaz's show, Veterans Minimum. And yes, it's like, because everybody's, going on and on about CJ Stroud, Puka Nucua has over 1,100 yards and I think 84 or 85 catches, somewhere like that.
Setting lots of records.
Yes. So I think the record for rookie catches is 104.
Wow.
So he's already close to that. I think if he gets to 1,300 yards, somewhere in there, and maybe because he only has 4 touchdowns. That's the thing. He only has 4 touchdowns. If he can get his touchdown number up a little bit more, and if the Rams sneak in the playoffs and the Texans don't, I put $20 on it, and it win 520.
Hey, when you said it, I was like, Josh, I like this. I like this side of you right here. We're finding some hidden value.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
CJ Stroud not playing the rest of the season is what you need, though.
Yes. Well, in the Texans, the Texans won. The Texans beat the Titans in overtime, and I was like, oh, did CJ play? And I looked, and it was like, Case Keenum. I was like, yes.
Yeah,
sorry. Yes.
Yeah, he was in concussion protocol all week.
Yeah.
CJ Stroud was. I was like,
Yeah, it's not good. You don't want, especially head. You know what I mean? If it was an ankle, I'd be like, okay, he'll be fine. Just maybe sit out a couple games. But head injuries, you don't want to see those. So
definitely.
But yeah, I mean, for my money, yeah, it would really help out.
Yeah, I think here's the thing that I've noticed with a lot of teams too is they have players that can pop off at the beginning of the year, but then they kind of pull off the reins. Mike Shanahan does this with Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah.
You're seeing it now. Like the Dolphins if the Dolphins needed to make a playoff spot, Tyreek Hill might have played this last week.
Yes.
Since they didn't, they're like, all right, let's give him a little extra week of rest and let's finish the season strong with him. But they wanted to pull back on his minutes. I'm hoping they do the same thing with Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
So that because they know Cooper Kupp is always on the verge of injury. So Puka Nucua should go off here next couple of weeks.
I hope so. If he can get another 10 reception game, I think we're gold.
Agreed.
I'm in good spot. Do need him to get another touchdown or so though. But without further ado, our NFL segment is brought to you by our friends at Coco Love, the beverage of choice of the American Fan 365. Head over to www.cocolovewater.com for your own case of coconut refreshment and use the code TAF365 for your discount on Hawaiian Beach Vibes. I actually need to get a re-up of Coco Love. As you can see, we don't have as many props with the can because
people are taking them all. All right, that's just the thing. They're that good.
A young Marcus Banks was drinking the props. Like I might need to draw like black marker on these so they don't.
Here's the thing. They were in the prop box. They were warm.
Yeah.
They were warm. That's how good Coco Love is. Cold, warm, it doesn't matter. By the way, Alcoholics, phenomenal mixer.
Oh,
phenomenal mixer.
Hold on, wait a minute. Have you been sliding the Coco Love out the studio and then making drinks?
I'm fucking around.
Vinny, send us some more Coco Love, man. This one box a month situation is rough. By the third week, I'm making ration decisions.
Taking shots of Coco Love.
Oh man, but let's do a quick recap of Week 15, George. Starting last Thursday. Man, there was some fireworks on the Strip. The Raiders got close to the NFL record in points. No. And they effectively got a coach and a GM fired.
Amazing.
Way to do that to your own division. Like, we're going to end this tonight.
I mean, I was there. I was in attendance.
Wait. I completely forgot that you went to that game. Did you stay the whole game?
Of course I stayed the whole game.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, here's the thing. This is how much of a football fan I am, people. All right? In the fourth quarter, when they did not elect to go for it on a 4th and 2, I booed louder than any Raiders fan in the stadium. That's bullshit, okay? You have the chance for an NFL record. You're up by 90 points, it seemed like. You were no danger for going for it there and trying to get a record.
Yeah.
Antonio Pierce, we're trying to keep your job here, bro. Like that is a really strong resume piece to say, I should be the head coach. I set the most points record.
Should he be the head coach?
No, but he should stay with the organization.
Okay.
If he stays with the organization, then I think that Raider culture's still in there. The players love him. But I think that it's just a little – he is a coach that makes bad challenge calls. His time management is evidently not all there.
Okay.
And it's like, let's take that pressure off you, buddy.
I think, you know what? I'll say this. He's never been a head coach.
Correct.
Because, you know what I mean, he retired and then got into just, you know, assistant coaching, if you will.
Yep.
So this is his first time he's learning to do it. I say this, man, as a Redskin Commanders fan, look, my team just lost to another one of our assistants. So we've lost to, let's see, what assistants did we lose to this year? We lost to, obviously, Sean McVay just now.
Yep.
We lost to McDaniels in with the Dolphins. I don't think we didn't play the Niners this year. I don't think. Did we play the Niners this year? It's been bad. It's just been a
you're
lot of
getting
beatings.
through this year.
It's been a lot of beatings.
You're getting through this year.
So,
you know?
But I say all that to say, when you have people in the building that the players like, that because look, this whole just let's slash and burn it down to the ground over and over again mantra doesn't work, especially in football. Football, I'd say more than any other sport of the major four sports, you don't want to keep doing this because players have to play fast. They have to. Mm-hmm. In the NBA, there's only so many plays. Everyone runs the same plays for the most part. You might just have some wrinkles, and then this coach might make some adjustments, X's and O's better than this one might. But in the NFL, man, to keep changing your coordinators, you're seeing it with the Eagles, to keep changing your coordinators, keep changing the philosophy. The players don't all change. It's not college. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's going to be a lot of holdovers, so there's always going to be dissension. There's always going to be people that don't buy in. So if you have a coach in the building that people are buying into, even remotely, go get him a young upstart offensive coordinator.
Yep.
Keep evolving that, you know what I mean, and then see what you got. Because I felt like they should have kept the coach before they hired McDaniels.
Yeah, but Rich Bisaccia knows that he doesn't want that responsibility. Like, he was like, no, I coach special teams really well. I think I'm good with my field goal unit here. All right? I don't need to have the weight of an entire city on my shoulders because it's heavy.
Yeah.
Heavy is head that wears a crown or something like that.
Yeah. Heavy is the
head that wears the crown.
I think that's about right. It's somewhere in there. But that's not all, George. We had some Saturday games. I woke up and my fantasy was already getting jacked up, and I was like, yo, my man, come on, say something. Give me an alert. Because, usually like your games are starting, fantasy football. I ain't getting no alerts. I just looked up and I was like, well, I got points. Oh,
check your lineup.
Crap. And I left people in that shouldn't have been in. It was a bad time.
No.
Jared Goff went off and he was on the bench.
I mean, but rightfully so. Jared Goff has been a little hit or miss lately. Like,
both of my
quarterbacks.
I have Trevor Lawrence, Jared Goff. And so every week that I would go the other way, the other one would have a great week. Like, one would put up 30, one would put up 15.
Yep.
And I'm like, them 15 points would have helped.
Yep. Here's the thing. I do this to keep my mentals in check. Fantasy football players, little fun tip for you. Only keep one quarterback at a time, because nothing is worse than having a quarterback on your bench that outperforms that quarterback. Because that's like the easiest one. So like literally all year, I'm like, CJ Stroud, only quarterback. That's all I care about.
That's fair.
And
you're riding and dying with it.
This week, Joe Flacco. He still had a great week too. Threw 3 picks and he still put up 28 points.
That's a very good week. That's a very good week. The Vikings lost in overtime to the Bengals. Let's see, both of those teams now. The Bengals are 8-6. 8-6. And Joe Burrow can come back. If they make the playoffs, George,
they make a lot of people happy.
They are a very scary team. I've said this, and I was saying this, when after Jamar Chase said he's always effing open. They haven't looked bad since then, really. They might have had like a loss here or there, but like overall, they've looked better and better every week. The Vikings 7-7. who would have thought that? What did they start, like 0-4 or 1-5? They were bad.
The Vikings?
Yeah.
Yeah, they were 1-5 to start the year.
So 7-7, good on them just to get back to respectability. The Colts blew out the Steelers. Man, is it time, George, for Mike Tomlin to move on?
I don't think so. I mean, I think he's right where he has his defense like firing at full efficiency. They're the heartbeat of the team, and as long as that's still the case, then, he's going to stick around, and he has the chance to still have a winning season. But if that doesn't happen and that snaps the streak of winning years, I don't know, Josh. What do you think about Mike Tomlin's current career?
I think you do have a picture of my team with you. If the Pittsburgh Steelers are dumb enough to either allow Mike Tomlin to be traded or dumb enough to fire him or ask him to step down, this would be the only other coach outside of Bieniemy that I want right now at the moment. Because when you look at all these, when you look at Ben Johnson and all these guys, yes, the offense is great. Okay, they've been doing it for like 2 years. None of the people have winning resumes. None of them. None of them have, we've been to the Super Bowl, we've done this. They've all just had, they had a great year this year or a great year the last 2 years. Bieniemy has done it for 6-7 years and has gone to 4 Super Bowls.
Right.
It's 4?
Yeah.
No. 3, because they lost one.
Correct.
3. But four AFC championships.
Definitely that.
He went to 4 AFC championships. And so, to not give it to him when you're how I don't understand how you rationalize that I'm going to let this person take this job when this person has done better at the same job. That as a fan, it frustrates me talking to other people because they'll walk through that like a firefighter. They'll walk straight through that fire like, oh yeah, well, I'm like, what?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, as far as Tomlin goes, to your point, and I've mentioned it on this show before, he's never had a losing season. I think they're 7-7 right now. So they've got 3 games left they got to win 2. Or in Tomlin fashion, they can tie 1 and they could just get to 8-8-1.
That's hilarious.
But, it's definitely one of those things for sure.
He seems like a guy who's really rooted in the city, but we thought about this with Belichick. They're not having that bad of a year. We do know that Rob Kraft had kind of hinted that Bill Belichick might be done. So I think that there was a certain run of these AFC coaches that we're kind of seeing fall by the wayside. It could start with Bill, then it ends up being Mike, and eventually Andy Reid. Oh, can you imagine that time?
Listen. I think Andy would retire.
Yeah.
He'd retire.
Do you think he'd retire after winning a Super Bowl?
I don't know. I think he's having so much fun. He really enjoys it. He's in a city that, they're not as, I would say that they love their football, but they're not as crazy as, the Eagle fans are, where it's you had a bad 3 games, burn the whole city down. No, it was a bad 3 games.
Yeah.
Relax. We've got all the pieces. You know what I mean? We got to obviously keep adding because the receivers are jacked up. But but for the most part, they have their pieces. They do need to probably draft a tight end though too, just because you don't ever want to be caught flat-footed for when that decline does happen to Travis Kelce.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? That to me would be great GMing. If they started this draft, O-line, tight end wide receiver, the first 3 rounds, that would be a very smart look to me because those are the positions I know that they need. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Crazy hypothetical. What year do you think it comes that they draft Patrick Mahomes' replacement?
If things keep going the way that they're going, with greatness, I think you You don't do what the Pacers, the Packers did to Aaron Rodgers and not keep that. You know what I mean? Like, obviously, I'm looking around and we're not as elite as we could be. So let's go keep filling him with elite pieces, especially too if it's like, all right, well, 3 years they get to move on and go to another team, get more money, whatever, but we still have the main dog right here.
Yeah.
You just keep that door rotating. I look, Patrick Mahomes, he should have at least 5 years before you even think about moving anything, because that's still only 33.
But all right, let me present this case to you. You have the Bengals, who right now, like you brought up, crazy run that they're going on. Joe Burrow is that good, right? But why'd they get Jake Browning if they knew they had Joe Burrow? And now look at the spot that they're in. Yeah. So there could be like the preventative GM type. You gotta just get these people and keep them so that way other teams don't get them.
Who, if you could look up, who is the backup for? Because it used to be Chad Henne, and I'm pretty sure Chad Henne retired
for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I will find that for you.
Yeah, because, I mean, that was the thing. He always had a really sturdy backup behind him. So if he did go down.
Blaine Gabbert, old Missouri quarterback.
Okay, so former first-round pick.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, and I feel like Blaine is only like 30. Like, he's not much older than Patrick Mahomes.
34.
Oh, is he that much older?
He's 34, yeah.
Wow, he's been in the league that long. So, yeah, depending on what the Gabbert contract looks like, if he's under contract, you don't need to. But if he's like, only got a year left or whatever, sure, maybe, you take a flyer in the 7th round.
Or you shock everybody and you get Michael Penix Jr.
No, that's stupidity.
All right.
George, we already have way too much money locked into this position. We are taking 6th or 7th round Tom Brady-esque type quarterbacks to back up. That's the list. Because look at it this way too, man. Andy Reid has coached and done so much for every quarterback that he's ever had. So you don't need to have whatever. You just need that guy to have Andy Reid traits and get him in the building.
Very much so.
And then he'll be fine if the situation calls for it.
Makes sense.
Till then, we don't need you. It's okay. We have greatness here. You just hold the clipboard.
It's December 18th when Patrick Mahomes gets hurt like November of next year and you wish you had a really good young quarterback, possibly a Michael Penix. We'll just come back. We'll revisit this conversation.
well, George will have that queued up, I promise.
Oh, for sure.
Like, wait a minute. Didn't we talk about this last year? Boop. But let's see. The Bucks took down the Packers 34-20 in Green Bay in the cold. Ugh.
Yeah, Green Bay is not playing good at home right now. Jordan Love is starting to get known as like the Tony Romo stat of most fourth quarter comebacks. So like, it's not always the best thing to have in your resume. Is
losing all the time in the fourth quarter.
I'm like, how did we get that big of a loss margin? You know what I mean? Whatever.
Your Saints, George.
Yes.
Took down the Giants in NOLA 24-6. That was a big game. That was keep your playoff chances alive.
Yes, sir.
The Giants quietly have had a good season. Even as bad as things have gone, they're 5-9 now. They were 5-8 in this game. They could have went to 6-8. You guys are 7-7. Still on the cusp. The Browns beat the Bears. Big comeback, and then the dropped Hail Mary by Mooney.
Oh my goodness.
Man.
That's just like, people don't understand how fast everything's moving. I don't, once you watch it in slow motion, you're like, damn, did he had the ball and like threw it. Like,
look, as hard as his body hit the ground, it's like you said, it happened so fast. I know in playing in sports, it happened in slow motion to him. Like, it was fast until it wasn't. It was like, no. Yeah. It's too late.
Yep.
Ball game.
I can't believe that they were in position to win that game. By the way, Joe Flacco did that on purpose. He just is trying to get himself prepared for close games. The Browns could blow at everybody. So he threw 3 interceptions, one of them being a pick six, gave the Bears a shot. He wanted to feel what a true 2-minute drill felt like. So they're scary. Browns, Browns are a really scary team. As long as Myles Garrett is healthy, they have a chance to win a couple of playoff games.
Yeah, listen, depending on what their matchup is, they're going to bring a fight. It's not going to be just a lay down, you got the Browns coming into town and we're just going to do what we want. They're definitely going to give you a fight. The Falcons lost 7-9 to the Panthers.
Did you see how much tickets were going for the Panther Stadium? Take a guess.
Donations. We're accepting canned food and shoes for Toys for Tots. Donations. That's what we're doing.
I saw them going for 45 cents.
Shut up. That's a donation.
Literally. I saw them going for 45 cents.
Oh, no. Oh, that's not good. Charlotte is not having a good time sports-wise. I will say that. The Chiefs took down the Patriots. The Patriots are now 3-11, George. I know we've talked about Belichick in the past being fired. I still don't personally think he should be fired. I think you allow him to get that next quarterback. If it looks bad again next year, okay. Because it's never looked this bad. Even when they've missed the playoffs, they weren't like top 5 pick missed the playoffs. They missed the playoffs. Okay,
right.
We were still 7-9. Relax. They've had a lot of injuries. They aged in a lot of spots. I think the biggest issue, though, is that Belichick has drafted so poorly. And I know that we've talked about that before. I mean, if there's anything that could really derail it is that I don't know if I can trust you to make this next decision.
Yeah.
Because trust me, you weren't. If Drew Bledsoe would have still been healthy enough to get back in those games, we would have never known the name Tom Brady.
Very true.
So it's not like Tom Brady was on the bench and you were like, oh, I got a feeling about this guy. He was called into action and then never returned to the bench. There's a difference.
Yep. And the fact that they're looking to possibly move on from him at the end of the year, I wonder how true those reports are. Like, I can't think it's not a possibility that he can convince them to be like, hey, give me one more year at this.
Listen, like I said, I told when Marcus was here, he's made billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Billions, not like, oh, I've made you some money. The Patriots went from not being I won't say a well-run organization, but being a top 5 organization across all sports in terms of how much money they've amassed. And that came from winning.
Yep.
And that is a direct result of this man. You don't fire him. If he wishes to leave, you let him go off on his own shield and however he wishes to do it. But I'm not firing you. You got enough runway to be trash for a decade before and honestly, that's what Robert Kraft should say. Because if he would have said that in the beginning, middle of the season, I feel like Patriot fans would have backed up. But the silence has been deafening, and that's the only reason why the daggone conversation can grow. If he would have came out and said, shut up, everybody, this is our coach, this is a Hall of Fame coach, we don't do this is not the Patriot way, we don't talk about it anymore. It's no longer a story. But the fact that he's been quiet, and then now you ask Belichick, Belichick, he's always going to be quiet. So it's like, you ain't going to get nothing. It just keeps spinning. Sometimes I feel like they allow stuff to spin that should never spin. Like this, right? Bro, he's 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years of greatness. What I wouldn't give for a 20-year run. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I had a herpes flare up in the 80s and a little bit in the 90s, and that's been it.
Literally.
You never were alive when we were decent.
No, the Commanders should not be a football team. But I mean,
and then you take it too far. The Bills took down the Cowboys, George. The Cowboys back to looking bad again. Man, the Bills again, they're so Jekyll and Hyde. I never know what to think with the Bills.
I think that the Bills are here to stay from here on out. Josh Allen really is him. I think he's a long shot to win the MVP award, but when you really look at it at the very end of the year, you're going to be like, damn, like he was relatively consistent. He was like a Jameis Winston 30 touchdown pass.
Elite Jameis Winston.
Yeah, like 30 interception type year where he's I saw this stat. He's the only quarterback in NFL history to have 10 games in a season where he has a passing touchdown and a rushing touchdown.
Wow.
That's
you said he's the only quarterback in history?
Correct.
10 games.
10 games.
Listen,
in a season.
He's been this year, he's been damn the torpedoes a lot. Like, I'm going to get the first down.
Yep.
And I mean, as much as we hate it, because it can impact the quarterback over the course of the year, I want that in my quarterback. I don't want you saving it.
What are we doing sliding a yard? I've seen more quarterbacks slide before getting a first down, and then the NFL now rules it where they start to slide, right?
That's right.
And so I've seen more like 4th and 1s caused by that, like, I don't know, bitch assness is what I would call it. Okay, lower your shoulder and don't be a bitch ass.
Says the two people sitting behind desks.
No, come, Josh. All right, hypothetically speaking, you get to play quarterback and you have to get a first down.
I got to get this yard.
That's how Josh Allen thinks all the time.
Yeah. Look, if I got to go get the yard, I want to win.
That's it.
I want to win. If it's 3rd down, 3rd and 7, and I scramble right, and I do my pump fake, and I get you to move, and I can get there, and it's me and Ray Lewis, I'm gonna dive at Ray's legs and pray that I get there.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm just like right at the hips.
Yeah.
Oh, offensive targeting for sure. Like I'm going to head first.
Oh my goodness. Before we move on from NFL, who do you think the team to beat is in the NFL right now? Because there's been so much inconsistency.
The team that if you beat them right now, I'd be like, you're in a pretty good spot is the 49ers. I think now when they're fully healthy, they're a team that scares the living shit out of me. Yeah. That team, nobody on the AFC, because here's the thing with the Ravens. There's moments in time where I watch that Ravens team and I'm like, the Jaguars had lots of opportunities yesterday.
Yes.
2 missed field goals. They should have scored at the end of the half. That game should have been a 3-point game without a doubt. So I can't say the Ravens.
I just don't
There's
believe
nobody on the AFC. Like,
Yeah,
even the Dolphins, I'm like, no.
The Dolphins, I guess the Dolphins, look, so I was saying yesterday, I'm actually taking the Dolphins-Niners as my Super Bowl now.
Okay.
Just because everyone has so many warts. Like every team has some significant warts. The Dolphins have warts too, don't get me wrong, but their elite level has been better than other people's elite level this season.
True.
They don't have that many injuries, and then Jalen Ramsey coming back, looking good, coming back. So now that takes away a person on your team. Those are my picks, and then I just pray that the Dolphins win because I just couldn't deal with Niner fans. They need some more, come to Jesus. They still because they keep talking a lot of trash, and it's like y'all still haven't won since a year before my team won. So let's come off it. Yeah, but we've been good over the last. But all right, well, sadness is still sadness.
Brock Purdy's resume is very much so a resume that's made up of amazing regular season success and playoff catastrophe. Let me just tell you, it's not going to be good.
I mean, that man, we witnessed that man's elbow explode last year. But before, and then one last thing, NFL, let me scroll back up to the top here. The Eagles take on the Seahawks tonight. Jalen Hurts might be out.
He's got like the flu, right?
Yeah, it might be a flu game. He might break out some gangrene J's and play this out.
Wow.
But man, I don't know. Look, the Eagles the last 2 weeks have looked bad. If he doesn't play and they lose 4 in a row, it's going to start being interesting. It's definitely going to start being interesting the rest of the way.
I think the Eagles are a team that had they had to play well early in the season, and now, you're taking the toll of, getting a record in which you're playing gauntlet after gauntlet after gauntlet.
Yeah.
You won a lot of games last year. You almost won a Super Bowl. So this is what happens, and it's it's a game where you will see Jalen Hurts sit out. I think even with the sickness or anything like questionable, I think he's out of the race to win the MVP award.
Sure.
So I don't think it's necessarily something where we got to like force this. It's a game that if you dropped it, you're still fine.
Yeah, you're making the playoffs.
And the thing is, Geno Smith typically looks good one time out of the year where you're like, Geno Smith, Monday Night Football? Hey, they wrote me off. I ain't right back. That was the last Monday Night Football game that Geno Smith played.
That's true.
So,
Looked good versus the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football, too. So, this would definitely be the moment to do it. I will say, though, them losing 3 in a row, especially after not looking great for, like, really the last 6 weeks. They haven't really had a game where it's like, oh, the Eagles are back. Like, every game was like a slugfest.
Correct.
Come from behind, and then they finally started running into teams that were better, and then it was like, oh, we can't just do this with everybody, and then they started getting blown out. Like, yeah, man, if they lose this one, especially, too, because Seattle is still playing for their playoff lives.
Yeah,
we'll see.
It's a must win. I think Seattle wins this one outright. Philly's only getting 3.5 points. Or not. Philly isn't getting the points. Seattle's getting 3.5 points at home.
Yeah.
So I think that's a good side to take tonight.
Yep.
For sure.
Yep. Switching gears over to the NBA, George, Steph Curry's record for consecutive games with three-pointers made ended last night in their win over the Trailblazers. He had reached 268 games.
That's nuts.
But don't worry, because he had actually, the person he had broken the record was himself when he had actually made 157 straight games with a three. And so then he went on a 268 game streak after that one. So he'll just start another streak.
I have to pull up his stats now. Was he just like 0 for 5 or something?
He was 0 for 8 last night.
Oh,
he was over. He was trying.
Did they win or lose?
They won.
Comfortably?
I think it was like 4 points, 4 or 5. It was close.
I was about to say, if it was a blowout, that would be really fun to watch. Like the
let it go. 7
possessions in a row. It's just setting up Steph Curry. That would have been awesome. That would have been a really fun thing to. 0 for 8.
0 for 8. That's a lot of threes, bro.
I mean, if you were to bet that Steph Curry didn't make a 3 that game, you could probably retire.
Wow, I don't know what that would have been. That would have been a pretty. I'm sure that probably would have been
1,000 to 1.
That would have been a pretty good one to bet. That's true. That's not a bad one to look for now, and you just like find it and just keep putting $1. Be like, I'll just spend this $32 a month, no problem.
Yeah, it's like it's worth it.
Take it. Giannis also passed Kareem Abdul-Jabbar for the all-time. He's the new all-time leader in rebounds in Bucks history. So congratulations to Giannis Antetokounmpo. Keegan Murray also, George, dropped 47 points after making 11 straight threes. They shoot it better in this generation. I'm not gonna lie. I know I always am boohooing, old school basketball versus new school basketball. Listen, I will say one thing. Our generation, we played outside, so there was a lot of jumpers that were broken by the wind.
Or the double rim.
Jesus.
The dreaded double rim.
The rim this thick, and it's like, bro, just take it to the hole. Like, none of us could shoot. Like, yeah. I used to be that teammate. Like, if I played with you outside and you was just hoisting from like 28 feet, I'm like, dog, listen, you only getting 2 of those.
Yeah.
You miss another one, and you're not getting the ball again. You're costing us possessions.
Not only that, the ball would hit off the rim. It'd end up 7 streets down that way. So it's like, you are going to go get the ball this time. All right?
God, that was a Vietnam flashback. Thank you, George. Redland Park. Oh, my goodness. But to close out the show, definitely a little bit of sad news. Rest in peace to Eric Montross. Died today at 52 from a bout of cancer. I didn't realize that he had cancer. Eric, I actually knew Eric George for many years. He played alongside my brother at both with the Pistons and then also when Jerome got traded to the Raptors. Eric Montross was also involved in that trade, and so he played with Jerome in Toronto for 2 years. He's also national champion. George is, of course, bringing up the clip of Chris Webber famously calling timeout when they did not have any more timeouts in the 93 national championship game. But we'll restart the clip. This is obviously this is one of the most iconic sequences in the history of college athletics. Young Rob Pelinka, George.
No way.
Yeah, that's Rob Pelinka, man. It's Rob from the Lakers. That's him.
That's nuts.
He was outside. Here it is. Go ahead, George.
Here we are.
You can play with some sound.
Long, a 2 to tie. Michigan will have to bring it.
Oh, he walked and the referee missed it.
Weber brings it into the front court. They have no timeouts remaining.
Oh, he costed too many timeouts. That's a technical foul.
He called a timeout. Michigan doesn't have any.
He got by with a walk, and Jimmy calls a he calls the timeout. He doesn't realize that's Michigan's too many, and so it'll be a technical foul. North Carolina shooting and the ball. A huge mental mistake.
Got Jalen Rose out there, George. Jalen Rose back when he had bad teeth.
He makes
Jeez.
2. This game will be over.
I want to say it was George Lynch at the line.
North Carolina with 11 seconds to go. Pelinka in. Even if should Carolina miss. There you have it. North Carolina is the 1993 national champion.
But yeah, man, Eric Montross, rest in peace. Great gentleman. Always was really nice to me when I was a ball boy. I was like 12, 13 when I met Eric. Always a really good guy. So, I text my brother this morning about it. He didn't know. So that was definitely some sad news for him. So RIP to him. And, but to end the show on a lighter note, thank you guys again so much for tuning in. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. It helps out the channel, helps out everything that we're looking to build. From Josh Williams and George Carmona in the back.
Yup.
We'll see you guys next time.
Deuces.